Hi, I'm Irving. Welcome to Kato and that guy who used to use a gas gun. Does anybody else miss the gas gun? He hasn't used it since I don't know. Before we get started, I need to toss out a little tidbit. If you're poking around IMDb looking for information about this show, they list this as the final episode airing in March 1967. But in their episode list, there's a gap where a December 30th, 1966 show should be. This is it. Everything I've been able to find indicates that this is episode 16, and it did in fact air on December 30th, 1966. And IMDb is wrong. That may shatter someone's world, but there it is. IMDb isn't always accurate. Kato and the Green Hornet are out in the Black Beauty just before midnight. The Hornet calls Scanlon and says, "We're standing by." For what, we don't know yet, but I'm guessing the answer is coming in there on Frank's teletype. Too bad the paper's not moving, so it's just typing on that same line over and over. When it's done, he's going to have to try and decipher a solid blob of ink. At midnight, we see a mystery figure make yet another call. We seem to think modern-day terrorists have come up with something new using a cell phone to trigger a device. Yeah, sure. A cell phone instead of a landline makes it more portable, but the idea has been around longer than most of us have. When they get the address of the fire, the Green Hornet and Kato head over there, hoping to catch the arsonist. So far, it doesn't seem to have occurred to anybody that he might be doing this by some kind of remote control. Forensics hadn't made anything like the progress that we have today, but a good investigator could still track that line from the fire's origin to the phone and figure it out. In a boardroom where the city's commissioners are gathered, we get an exposition dump.
For 7 nights now, at the stroke of midnight, a madman has set a devastating fire somewhere in our city. Now, gentlemen, I have to admit that I have absolutely no idea how to combat this.
He throws it open for ideas, and good old Mike Axford says, "I brought the solution."
Commissioner Dolan, you know Ben Wade. He was retired from service a few months ago because of his injury. But there isn't a man in this town knows more about arson, or determining the methods of its use, or preventing it, than Ben Wade.
He knows more about arson than anyone else in the city, and he just got forcibly retired because of losing an eye. He's the arsonist, I'll bet on it. And Mike stepped on his whatchamadoodle again.
When we realized the extent of our problem, your name came up. Thank you, sir. But it was rejected. The job you held cost you the sight of one eye. We can't possibly risk the loss of the other.
But, Commissioner, that would be my risk, not yours.
Wrong! Old white guys in suits know what's best for everybody. Just ask Congress. The commissioner says the decision was reluctant but final. Ben leaves in a huff. Later at the paper, Mike suggests that the Sentinel hire him to investigate the fires, figure out how they're being done, and then they can warn potential targets about what to look for. Reid says, "That's not a bad idea. Let me ponder it, Pinky." That night, the Green Hornet and Kato head out on patrol to try and generate some kind of lead about this arsonist. As for the man himself, he's already on the job. It's a good thing these places have beefed up their security and the guards are extra vigilant. No way a guy in a fireproof suit could... Never mind. While Reid and Scanlon try to figure out if the firebug will strike again with extra cops on patrol and helicopters surveying the city, the firebug is giving his answer. A helicopter reports the smoke to Scanlon. It's less than 30 seconds from where the Black Beauty is. While they're racing over there, the watchman finally figures out something's wrong, calls it in, and goes to investigate the fire. Hornet goes goes in to rescue the night watchman while Kato tries to see through the blinding smoke. Oh, Kato is not going to be happy about that. Fear his retribution, dude. The night watchman wakes up, sees the Green Hornet, and of course jumps to all the wrong conclusions. Time to make ourselves scarce. I won't even say it.
Hello, Ben. Crawling in kinda late, aren't you?
Mike says, so you're the firebug. Wade says, what, just because I'm wearing a flame-proof suit and there was just another fire and I can't account for my whereabouts while it was happening? I'm shocked you'd think such a thing.
But added to these locations and dates, it does. Every fire, including the one tonight.
I heard that on the radio. I wrote it down. I'm trying to establish a pattern.
Even Mike isn't thick enough to believe that.
Ben, why are you doing this?
Don't you know? Forced retirement for a man who dedicated himself to the city.
His goal is to make a big enough fuss that they have to bring him back to solve the big cases and get the glory like he used to.
It's the headlines you miss. You're about to make the biggest headline yet.
Don't move, Mike.
They never see that coming. Did Mike really think Ben would just stand there and be sent to jail? He's totally crackers, so it's unreasonable to expect reasonable behavior out of him. Mike tries to plead their friendship.
I have no friends. And now that you know what I'm doing, least of all you.
As it turned out, the hole in Mike's head actually helped him think better. Once it opened up, all the dumb leaked out. Next morning, Reid and Miss Case are getting concerned because Mike hasn't come in and nobody can find him. Wade said he never showed up, and people at his apartment building said he never came home. Ben is making bombs in his living room when Britt pays him a visit.
Morning, Ben.
Mr. Reid.
May I come in?
Sure, yes.
Is Mike here?
No, sir. Like I told your secretary, he hasn't been. Haven't seen him since the commissioner's office. But he did call me this morning, telephone me from his apartment.
Ben just made a big mistake. He should assume that they've checked Mike's apartment, but he's nervous. And when guys like him get nervous, mistakes start happening.
I have good news for you.
I could use some.
You're now an employee of the Daily Sentinel. Special investigator, arson.
You mean you're going to do what the city wouldn't?
Somebody has to. This thing's gotten out of hand.
I'll say it has. When do we start?
I think Britt has a fair idea where Mike is. And I think Ben has a fair idea that Britt has a fair idea where Mike is. And I think Britt has a fair idea that Ben has a fair idea that Britt has a fair idea where Mike is. And
Well, I filled out all the forms. I belong to you now.
Good. I have your first assignment.
In a totally pointless scene, Britt laid out for Scanlon all the evidence that Ben is the firebug. The only purpose was to pull all the clues together for us in case we haven't been keeping up. Britt tells Ben, we have a shipment of medical supplies being snuck in disguised as newspaper supplies. It's kept in a warehouse of ours down at the docks. Please go check it out and make sure there are no incendiary devices.
What's to prevent someone from planting them tonight?
We have the police surrounding the place. No one in or out.
Mr. Reid, you don't want to just protect this shipment. You'd like to catch the Green Hornet, too, wouldn't you?
Of course.
Well, then pull the police out. Let me handle this alone. Don't just scare them away.
The bait is in place. All we need to do is set the hook.
This is going to be my biggest fire of all.
And what will it accomplish? What about your reputation? This will still be an unsolved case.
Who said unsolved? I'm going to capture, I'm going to kill the firebug, and the firebug is going to be you.
Again, for an experienced investigator, why didn't Mike see that coming? He might even be able to pull off the idea that Mike was the Green Hornet and all his ranting about the evil Green Hornet was nothing but misdirection. Once this is done, he can pin anything he wants to on Mike and Mike won't be able to respond. He drives to the warehouse, unaware that the Green Hornet is right behind him.
Fine suspect I'll be, with my hands tied.
Very foolish, Mike. You shouldn't have told me that. You're absolutely right.
Okay, your hands are free. Punch him! No, Mike just stands there. The Green Hornet blows the door and he and Kato head in. At least Mike sacrificed his body for a good cause. He delayed Ben long enough for the Green Hornet to get there. That may or may not be a good thing. He tosses another one and tries to run out. Kato still owes you for blindsiding him before, remember? They grab Mike and get out of there since there's nothing they can do for Ben now. The next day...
What is it, Mike?
Boss, I have a favor to ask.
Ask away.
Could we play down this firebug story? Ben Wade deserves a better epitaph.
Mike, he tried to kill you.
He didn't, and I'm here.
This is why we like Mike Axford. He may be as graceful as a pregnant cow, but his heart is bigger than anyone can imagine, and his faithfulness to his friends is unparalleled. Mike is a genuinely good person who just happens to trip over his own tongue with alarming regularity. We love him for all of it.
Okay, if that's the way you feel about it.
Thanks.
Poor Mike.
That's the best we could come up with for a closing line? How about this? Hi, I'm the Green Hornet, and we have no idea how to end this episode, so I'm just popping in to say thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Much more honest. Until next time.